Então estamos chegando aqui na cervejaria Liefmans. Já chegamos em Udenad, viemos de trem. E agora a gente está chegando aqui para fazer o tour aqui na fábrica com um amigo meu, o senhor Mark. Ele é gerente geral da importação e marketing da Liefmans, Brouwerij Liefmans. Daqui a pouco a gente vai começar então nossa visita interna da cervejaria. A cervejaria Liefmans hoje é de propriedade Duvel, então temos alguns barris escritos Duvel aqui fora, de enfeite. Ou de enfeite, talvez serão até usados, né? Então daqui a pouco a gente começa a nossa visita lá dentro. Entramos aqui no pub dentro da Liefmans, eles têm um pub próprio para degustação. Aqui estão algumas medalhas dele, de Brussels Beer Challenge. E agora nós vamos degustar. Mr. Mark wants to taste some Liefmans. Ah, que legal.
Pubzinho.
Muito show.
Pubzinho da fábrica.
Pubzinho da fábrica. Very, very old pub.
Originally it's not very old.
It's not very old.
No, it looks old. But
Looks old. Ah.
we gave it a look of an old pub. But it's not that old. Before that it was they were the office. It was the office.
Wow, was
The old
offices
brewery.
here.
The old brewery. Here was office. Here was office. Yes. And there was no pub. No.
Now Mr. Mark is serving the old brewing Liefmans. Tá servindo pra gente a old brewing da Liefmans agora aqui no pub da Liefmans, aqui na fábrica. Mr. Mark seems a star with so many cell phones making video.
Ooh.
You drink with us, Mr. Mark?
Of course.
Oh,
Of course.
Madame Rose, don't drink, but Mr. Mark,
Thank you. Yeah, Madame Rose from time to time she still drinks.
he still drinks.
Small quantities, but you know she turned in 96, eh?
Oh,
96?
96?
96 already, yes.
Wow.
Bem
Still-
pensei,
She's
gente.
very nice.
She still drives a car.
Very nice.
Not far, eh? From here to the home and to do some groceries.
Quer ficar com essa aqui? Não. Vou get tudo isso aqui.
Deixa ele pro Doug. Passa meu copinho ali, por favor, Aguilera. Obrigado.
Yes.
Cheers to Mr. Mark
Cheers.
and for Madame Rose.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
No problem. Name of the brewery. And at that period, so it's late Middle Ages in fact. So at that period, there were a lot of breweries here in Oudenaarde, in the region of Oudenaarde. They all made a little bit comparable beer. And originally, they were not allowed to use hops.
In the north of Belgium, right?
Yes. So they belong to the French-speaking part, the French Keizerrijk, yeah, Franse Keizerrijk, Empire. In that time, Belgium didn't exist at that moment.
Yes.
Belgium. It was only 1820 or something. But it was much before that. And then they were not allowed to use hops. Now, maybe you know when you don't use any hops, your beer becomes very sensitive for microbiological contamination.
Yes,
But they were used to drink sour beer. So one of the biggest, or the easiest bacteria which develop in non-hopped beer are lactic acid bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
But the same time, lactic acid bacteria, they give you acidification.
Yes.
So you have a pH drop,
Mm-hmm.
which with a lot of lactic acid formation, and that it's again something which protects your beer. It's like sauerkraut or yogurt or kefir, or so you have also a kind of protection from the
low
lactic
pH,
acid, from
yeah.
the lactic acid production.
Yeah.
So this was in fact the origin of our sour beer. So it was maybe at that time a lot of spontaneous fermentation, but then they very quick understood when they took a little part of the fermented beer and they reused it in the next brew.
Mm-hmm.
Then the influence of the wild yeasts was much lower, and that way they created in fact the mixed. They didn't create it in 1 year. It was
In the time.
It developed in the time to and we call it mixed fermentation. So that means that the alcohol production is done by a yeast, by a culture yeast, and because of the environment and because of the microflora which live in the brewery, you get a certain infection of this lactic acid bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
So the influence of the lactic acid bacteria, they come in spontaneously because it's in the environment, but we use a yeast to start the fermentation.
Okay.
That's the big difference between our sour beer and, for instance, a gueuze.
Yes.
In a gueuze, they don't use any yeast. They don't add yeast. Maybe in the beginning of their production process they add, because then the microbiological content of the air is still too low when they start, because the whole summer they didn't do anything. They didn't make any beer, and then in end September they start fermenting. But their first brews that they make, they bring it on the cool ship, is a little bit too low in wild yeast.
Wild yeast.
So for that reason, and now the technology is already there, maybe in the beginning they are adding a little bit of wild yeast so that they don't lose too much beer, not too much brews. So, but normally for a spontaneous fermentation, they don't add any yeast. They use the yeast which is in the air, which is in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference between our beer compared to our beer. Our beer, we always add yeast. It's always a strain of yeast.
And then the wild.
But then the lactic acid bacteria, not the wild yeast, but the lactic acid bacteria come in and they infect, or they mix with the yeast.
Here in the Liefmans.
Here in the Liefmans, yes.
You use wooden barrels, Mr. Mark?
No.
No. Okay.
The wooden barrels you see are, first of all, are a few tests, and you will see much more wooden barrels. But originally, this beer doesn't touch any wood.
Okay.
Doesn't have any wood, and it's
And
not
this
necessary.
this lactic acid that I feel in my mouth comes naturally, or you
Yes.
put
No,
naturally?
No. Naturally comes from the lactic acid bacteria which are in the mixed culture. So you see,
Okay.
you have yeast and you have lactic acid bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
The lactic acid bacteria, they come from outside. They get mixed inside
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
yeast.
mm-hmm.
So when you harvest yeast for your first
For
brew,
the first brew?
you also harvest some lactic
That makes
acid,
sense.
not only yeast but also lactic acid.
Okay,
bacteria.
okay.
Then you reuse them immediately, and then there is a kind of balance between yeast and lactic acid bacteria, and that way we can continue always our production, and it gets stabilized. We
Yes,
use
yes.
yeast,
How many times?
as long as it
as long as-
goes well.
As long as well.
As long as it goes well.
Fantastic.
Sometimes we have to be careful in summer.
No.
In summer, there is a certain period in summer where we have to be careful with the time between the two fermentations. When there is more than 2 or 3 days that we have to store the yeast for 2 or 3 days, we have to cool. We have to refrigerate
Quickly.
the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we get acetic acid. So we have to be careful with that. That's one of the biggest problems in summer. And that's also the reason.
How many degrees?
Sorry?
Summer in how many degrees? 20 centigrade?
More than 20 degrees.
More than 20.
When it turns 25, when it's really hot, then we have to be careful.
So,
Mr. Mark, do you know that
25 for us.
No, when you cool the yeast and when you keep it, when you don't give the acetic acid bacteria any chance, then nothing happens. But when you keep the yeast uncooled and you store it for a few days, then this acetic acid gets into the yeast, and then it turns out wrong.
Mr. Mark, do you know which pH is here in the Finnish beer?
Yes, 3.5.
3.5. Don't seems, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Don't seems.
It's because of most of the acid is lactic acid.
3.5 de pH de bactéria lática ácida.
Sim.
Interessante. Nesse caso, dá pra pensar em fazer uma old brewing em casa? Faz um mosto igual a esse, caramelado, acidifica com a bactéria láctea igual uma Berliner e depois fermenta com...
Só que ele faz o contrário, a gente faz o inverso.
Ele faz o contrário.
Because in Brazil, we do...
I come here when I came for water. I see people arriving. Mark, is dat zakje niet nog van mij?
Dan ik bij Olaf. Op zijn bureau.
Had dat zo dik in, zeg me niet.
Ik heb het bij Olaf gelegd.
En ik zeg hem,
Madame Rose
kom hier
vai
van
receber a
Holland en
gente.
zeg
Ela é a
niets.
filha do fundador. É ela que aparece no
documentário.
documentário The Beer Hunter, do Michael Jackson, no final da década de 80. Veio aqui dar oi pra nós. Say hello to Brazil, Madame Rose.
Hello, Brazil. I love dancing.
Oh, you must visit us.
And I love the good coffee.
Oh.
It's time of carnival.
About I'm talking with a guy from Belgium. He sell on internet some old stuff from Belgium, and he has a lucky No,
From Belgium.
no,
I
Madame
should
Rose.
be in.
No, old stumpers had
Bij Leersen. 550 kg. So he had teach me how to brew, well, because he want to go on holiday, and so you can look it well and away. So at once he was away forever, and I stood here with 46 people who looked at me. This is finished here, is and the family said, can you go on? I said, I'll try. If you with a lot of goodwill, you have to try and
Madame Rose, that brewery, the name Iron Band. Who brewery is this? The brewery name.
from Golden
Yeah.
in the years 56.
56, but
I remember that.
the brewery name, who deposit? You remember?
Yeah, for Golden Band, 56. Manuel was my eldest son. This is my youngest son. I got two sons, and he was born in 59, and my eldest son in 56. And Manuel was small, he was still a baby when they told me that the
Was deposit.
Douglas is asking for the name of the brewery from the other brewery who has deposited iron bands. Who has deposited iron bands. It was a brewery in Dendermonde, I suppose.
Yeah, a small
the name,
brewery in
the name.
Dendermonde. And they made a small, a little beer, and they called it Iron Band.
But do you remember the name?
Oh, they didn't exist long time. They were long back. They were so small.
That was the question. The name of the other brewery.
Dendermonde, dat bestond niet meer. Iemand van Dendermonde zou dan misschien nog weten, maar...
Então, olha que legal a história do nome Gudenbach. Perguntei para Madame Rose, o que quer dizer Gudenbach? Assim, antes de 1956, A nossa cerveja se chamava Iron Band. Iron Band por quê? Iron Band são aquelas faixas de metal que tem no barril de madeira, né, para aguentar ele. E um determinado dia, de madrugada ainda, 4, 5 horas da manhã, liga o patrão dela e fala: Rose, é uma catástrofe. Uma cervejaria aqui da região registrou o nome Iron Band. Até então a cerveja dele se chamava Iron Band. Registrou e a partir da semana que vem nós não podemos mais usar o nome. Ele todo desesperado. Aí ela dormindo, qual que é o problema? A gente chama de Gudenband. Gudenband é a banda, a faixa de ouro. Aí eles começaram a fazer os copos com as faixinhas de ouro na borda.
And he was so happy, yeah?
I suppose.
Yeah, but you have such a flash sometimes. You should search for it, you should find it. But well, we will call it and golden band is chic.
The other one is only iron. Mine is gold.
Maar als je mij rondgaat, moet er gedurende wie ijzeren band moeten worden.
Ja, maar dat kennen ze niet.
But when I first when was he was secretary, so I wrote letters, and the patron saw that and otherwise he was on the labo. He said, you can do better than write letters. I think, come to the labo and taste this beer. He stood there with plenty of. I did not beer so well. I didn't know nothing about it. All ballet and theater and all of that. So I tasted it. He said, what do you think of it? I said, there is something in Belgium, in Flemish, say, zuur onderwezen. You know, those small things to have on a tree, little flags, and you can read with this. I said, in Flemish, they say, zuur. Said, monsieur, zo zuur van wezen. He said, but that's the beer from Oudenaar. I said, yes, we were 46 years, 1946. He said, yes, that the beer from old people who go to the cafes, but now the times are changing. And now young people go to cafes and women go also to cafes. They did that before.
Yes.
They stay at home while their men were on the cafes. I said, such a sour beer they will never drink. He said, because we are now in the era of Coca-Cola, which came in with the Americans after the war. And he said, and they compared that with Coca-Cola, you will never drink that sour beer. I said, you are right, he said, you will change it a little bit. And from then on, I mocht change it. I could always taste it and say what I thought, that it good was. Yeah, I said, yeah.
Madame Rose, Liefmans Brewery, how was the time of the Second War here?
We were 4 years. It was closed here. It was only new built here. Because before we were in
The First World War, the brewery was situated in the center of the city. Another place, completely different.
Before Second War.
Before the First War. Originally, the brewery was situated in the center of the city. That building didn't exist at that moment. So in the First World War, the brewery over there suffered a lot. It was completely bombarded, and then after the First World War, they said, okay, maybe it's interesting to start because the owners at that moment were wealthy.
They had this. Their fields belonged to them.
Yes, and they had this terrain possible, and they said we're going to construct a completely new brewery over there. And that's the reason why we are situated here.
And when comes the Second War?
Second War, we were kept safe.
Yes.
We didn't have that much. I'll show you when we make the tour some bullet holes. Oh, we have some bullets, still some bullets.
Because the Germans asked all the copper. They had a lot of copper. And
they didn't touch us.
they didn't never touch it. They didn't see it or they
You was lucky.
Wow. In the first World War, there was a brewer, a small, very small brewer, who said, these Germans are coming, we are going to demolish my own brewery and put it into the river. And he dumped it into the river. Yes. So he knew where it was, his copper. So and he said, okay, I don't have any copper to the Germans, so they couldn't tear down the brewery. And after the World War, he took out the copper and he.
Me fala onde é que no Brasil, em qualquer aula de sommelier de cerveja, que escuta isso. Isso é expedição cervejeira. I told him, to them, where in Brazil, in the lessons of beer sommelier, about the history of beer, you will hear the history about
the same history. Yes.
But we had 4 years more, I remember. We couldn't go out at night at 8 o'clock. But we still fortunately we made the parties, the youngsters, and we stayed in the house in the morning with the party.
A lot of deportation.
Because we couldn't go out after 8 o'clock. You see, at night.
The bombing was relative.
Yeah.
22 January this year. So
you can keep it for a long.
In this way, you can keep for I keep for 6 months.
Yeah.
But if you mill, for example, Douglas, I want to mill all the package. Okay. If you want.
No, I won't do that.
If you mill the coffee 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
The freshness.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Goes down.
Well, I'll meal it, I'll drink it, and I'll think of you. Is it?
Please. Thank you, Madame Jose. Really good.
But yeah, all by myself.
All by yourself. You must visit Brazil. It's a very hot place, but it's beautiful. Brazil is beautiful. We have a lot of.
My sister has been in Brazil. She has been a lot all over the world. She got a lot of money. She traveled a lot. I didn't have time to travel. I did it all when I had holidays in the brewery because I could be a week away from the brewery. But I still went just when they asked me, like in Vancouver or in Canada.
In Canada?
And then in Portland.
Portland?
There I spoke before 2,000 people over the Belgian special beers. They asked the brewers to come to Portland to speak on their annual meeting. And that was the small breweries and the home brewers. Home brewers. And then my son said, after 3 years, go, you can do it. No one from the Belgian brewers dared to do it. So I went and I did it. But it went all right.
It's a good it's a good trip to Portland. Portland, they have a lot of coffee culture too. Portland.
Well, I didn't have time to visit Portland. I've seen 2 days or 3 days in Portland. From there we went to Vancouver.
Okay.
There was also a meeting for brewers.
Great. Let me know, Mr. Mark, let me know about it.
All over the world I've got friends.
But you're known all over the world.
Even in Brazil now.
You are known all over the world.
Now we have a lot of friends in Brazil.
Even more after this visit.
It's good life in Belgium. That's true.
Yes, it's true.
Maybe too good. Maybe too good.
Maybe.
Yes, that's why they are the parliaments and all that. They are because they are a luxurious life and they are too good. And then they make from nothing. They make a whole spot.
I live in Italy for. Após passar um tempo no pub degustando as cervejas da Liefmans e tendo uma palestra sobre história da cervejaria com a Madame Rose, agora nós vamos fazer a visita da fábrica. Muito legal, já tem uma galerinha aqui. Então vamos começar a visita aqui na cervejaria. Temos barris da Jack Daniels aqui, hein? Opa, deve sair alguma coisa interessante daqui. Eles não botam nada em barril, né? Não botam nada em barril. Estão vazios. Mas o cheiro é bom. Vamos começar daqui a pouco então a visita na cervejaria. A cervejaria hoje não funciona mais, ela está desativada desde 1991. Eles comentaram conosco que a cervejaria então não faz então mais mosto desde 1991. De 91 a 2007 foi feita uma cervejaria aqui perto da cidade, onde eles produziam mosto, mas ele era fermentado e maturado e envasado aqui. Então, e aí desde 2007 até hoje então é feito pela The Koning, que também é de propriedade Duvel, né? Para quem não sabe, Liefmans é da Duvel. Foi comprada pela Duvel em 2007. 2007. E então o mosto hoje é feito pela The Koning em Antuérpia, mandado para cá. E aquele é fermentado e maturado e envasado. Tivemos praticamente uma aula de história da Madame Rose, da senhora Rose, sobre a história da cervejaria, sobre um pouco da história da cerveja belga também, principalmente sobre a Primeira e Segunda Guerra Mundial, o que foi a Primeira e Segunda Guerra Mundial aqui na Bélgica, sobre a história da cerveja belga. E eu estou, sinceramente, muito ansioso para começar essa visita, porque até agora está sendo fantástico. Então estamos começando agora aqui a visita na Liefmans. Já temos uma fantástica panela de mostura bem velhinha aqui. Um piano aqui, tem um piano no meio da cervejaria.
It's so hard. Yeah, but she's also without that's you can play if you want. Can you play something? No, just
Não acredito.
Oh no. That's because of the piano, not because of.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. Yeah, but it's here.
Tá desafinado?
Tá muito desafinado.
Tá muito desafinado. Eu até consigo tocar alguma coisa, mas tá muito desafinado.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go, Mr. Mark.
So, brew house.
This is the brew house.
This is the brew house, yes. The old brew house. So, it worked until 1991.
Então, essa aqui é a sala de mostura, né? A brew house da Liefmans, que trabalhou até 1991.
Tudo escrito naquela língua que a gente não consegue entender.
Até 1991, então, foram essas as panelas que faziam a Liefmans. Aqui nós temos, acho que um recipiente, olha que legal. Já vou entender o que era esse recipiente. 151 hectolitros. Muito show. Essa era a panela de sacarificação.
Brewing kettle, in fact, but it's without heating.
Without heating?
Without heating, yes, but it's warm because they add warm water.
Okay.
They make mash at temperature 45 degrees, and then they hire up by
With more hot water.
more hot water, and at the end pulling off a certain amount of the wort, pumping it up and bring it back.
Okay.
Because otherwise you have to add too much water and it will be too thin. So at a certain moment they also have to take off a certain amount of wort to bring it up and bring it at a higher temperature, boil it partly, and then bring it back downstairs. Yes. That's also the reason why these valves are that big. You see, these are big valves. And when you have an normal Lotterton, you have small valves. But when you take off a certain amount of the wort to bring it upstairs and it's not completely saccharified, then you have too much obstruction. For that they needed bigger valves.
Yes.
So it let through more, yes.
To take the water and the holes. Yes. That's a big mash house.
And everything is in double.
Everything is
Everything is in double. You have two mashing vessels, we have two boiling vessels, we have two cool ships, we have two mills. Everything is in double. It's completely double. Those one is like
It's
the
the
same. It's the same.
It's the same. Mash tun, mash tun.
We have two mills, we have two conveyors, two silos for the crushed malt.
The crushed malts.
Everything is in double.
Whoa.
How many liters is this?
151 hectares, right?
Normally, one brew finished was about 210, 215 hectoliters. In one brew house.
In one brew
house.
house. So double.
So in double, it was 400 hectoliters. So also our fermentation vessels are 400 hectoliters. So we have two fermentation vessels, classical open vessel, and then there we have 400 to 420 hectoliters we can put in. Yeah.
And Mr. Mark, I saw this thing.
Consegue passar?
What is this, Mr. Mark?
That's a collection vessel.
Collection vessel.
Collection vessel means when you have your filtration or whatever comes from your filter tun has to be collected here, and there is one central pump over there. That's the central pump. Who pumps it upstairs or that way or that way? They
Okay.
pump it
Only liquid here.
only liquid. And there you have the other one
From the other one.
mashing vessel.
Então, o Mr. Mark está explicando que aqui é tudo é dobrado, né? Então, eles têm duas panelas de mostura de 151 hectolitros. Então, nós temos uma aqui e outra aqui. E aí, ao lado das panelas, tem essas duas piscinas, né? Que aqui, então, quando ele filtra, clarifica, vem para cá. E aquela bomba ali embaixo, que não dá para ver muito bem porque está meio escuro, essa é a bomba que então pode jogar o mosto de volta para cá, se ele quiser, ou aqui para cima, né? Então, só para vocês entenderem que isso é tudo, ele me falou que é tudo dobrado. 2 tanques de mash, 2 tanques de fervura, 2 tanques de resfriamento, é tudo dobrado aqui na Liefmans, quando eles ainda produziam. Lembrando que produziam até 1991, né, foi produzido. Depois eles pararam de produzir aqui, o mosto é produzido em outra cervejaria. Legal. Go to the next step.
Okay, upstairs.
Então agora a gente vai subir para a segunda parte, que é a parte de fervura. Então, literalmente, tu passa em cima da panela de mostura. Ó. É uma escada, passa por cima de uma das panelas de mostura e vem para a fervura. É bem compacta, é verdade.
Okay.
Então estamos aqui em cima. Ó a cabeça.
These are in fact, you see again, two tanks, small tanks. They were used to measure volumes. For instance, when we go from the mash tun to the small boiling tank upstairs, it has to be measured. You have to know how much, because there were no counters, there were no mass flow meters at that moment. So they had to calculate and to count how much hectoliters they pump up. That's the reason why we have these small things. So it was
The first brewery in Belgium, I see this.
filling up, pumping it up, down upstairs, again filling up, and I said twice this volume,
Whoa.
3 times this volume, or smaller volumes, because they could also read the amount. So that's an intermediate volume halter to measure volumes. Yes.
Então o Sr. Mark falou que essas duas panelas que nós temos aqui, que não são nem duas panelas, são 2 barris enormes na realidade, servem para calcular o volume de cerveja que eles estavam tirando do mash cerveja não, perdão, de mosto, que estavam tirando do mestre e mandando para fervura. Visto que eles não tinham como calcular, não tinham nada para saber quanto estava mandando, eles enchiam uma panela dessa, eles sabem quanto tem aqui dentro, enchiam uma panela, mandavam para fervura, enchiam outra, mandavam para fervura. Idem para essa daqui. Então, em base a quantas vezes... ou para cima ou para baixo, exato. Em base a quantas vezes eles encheram esses barris, eles sabiam então quantos litros de mosto estava indo para fervura ou para baixo, para aquilo que seja, né? Então é um modo de eles calcular um volume.
Yes, I understand completely.
Português is not difficult, né?
No.
Olha só.
This is
I'm going
show.
crazy about this.
This is show. Sorry, this is show.
You don't have beer there?
Beers.
They are still filled with beer. Yes, and these are old bottles.
Ah, man, I'm go crazy about this. I go crazy about vintage beers.
Oh, yeah.
And good one is a really good one to vintage.
Yes.
Então aqui ele me falou que é uma parte mais de demonstração, né? Onde nós temos antigas cervejas Liefmans de décadas passadas, ainda cheias, ele comentou. Still fill it, right? Some bottles are filled.
These are filled. This is an empty bottle. This is also a brand we had in the past. Dark ale.
Então temos algumas cervejas aqui que hoje não são mais produzidas pela Liefmans, né, mas que no passado eram. Temos a Gudeband. We have
an old label.
Esse aqui é um rótulo antigo. Então a parte mais mostrando os antigos rótulos que eles faziam. We have here a Iron Band.
No.
Oh.
No, sorry.
You must look about it.
Yes, but the changing was very early in the year.
Early
It was,
56.
Yeah, it was very. Yeah. So this is also a brand we had. So it is as in a pilsner. In the pilsner type, you have a pilsner, and you have also an export. You know what it means?
Export, yeah.
Means that the same beer, but lower in alcohol and bigger in volume.
Mm-hmm.
We had the same for Old Brown. So we had the Old Brown, and we also had the Odnar, which was a little bit lower in alcohol and bigger than this is 33 centiliters.
But always a brown beer.
Always brown beer, brown beer, and then that was more for the farmers when they had big thirsts.
Big thirst.
Big volume.
Que legal essa parte histórica. Eu amo história, né? Eu sou fissurado em história da cerveja, em história belga. Os antigos copos da Liefmans, né? The old glasses.
Yes. These are all the glasses of Liefmans.
Very old. The golden band.
That's the golden band where Rosa talked about.
I was playing.
And also, at that time, all the glasses had a golden band. You see the old glasses over there,
aqui
they
é mais
also
alguns.
have a golden
Mais
band.
alguns. Então, vou aproveitar essa parte do vídeo para explicar um pouco sobre a história do nome Golden Band. Lá embaixo eu estava falando com a Madame Rose, né, que é uma das mais antigas proprietária, fundadora, e eu estava falando com ela sobre por que do nome Golden Band, né, que é esse nome aqui, o mais conhecido da Liefmans, Golden Band. Ela falou que antes de 1956, o nome da cerveja era Iron Band, né? Então, em 1956, uma outra cervejaria da região registrou esse nome. E eles não tinham registrado. E o patrão ligou para ela de madrugada ainda e falou: Rose, patrão dela, não, perdão, um sócio dela, alguma coisa. Rose, registraram o nome Iron Band e nós não podemos mais usar a partir da semana que vem. E ele todo preocupado, todo nervoso, e ela falou: ué, não tem problema, nós começamos a usar Golden Band. Podemos usar Golden Band. O que é Golden Band? É a faixa, né? A banda de ouro, porque todos os copos deles naquela época tinham essa faixinha dourada, como vocês podem ver aqui em alguns copos antigos, ó. E a partir de então começou a se chamar Golden Band, e a Madame Rose até falou, isso até trouxe um valor maior, né? Porque a faixa de ouro é mais importante que a faixa de ferro, né? E era faixa de ferro porque os antigos, os barris, tem aquela faixa de ferro que serve para unir as madeiras, né? As tábuas entre elas, e aí por isso que era esse nome. Muito legal. Oh, this is a big one. Garrafa bem grande aqui, não dá para ver porque tá meio... Ó, olha aqui as garrafas deles, ó. Os vários volumes de garrafa, né?
So
Gouden Band was a beer people used to know as a provision beer. We call it provision beer. It means that you can keep it for a longer period. And also because of the alcohol content and so on, people wanted to keep it for a special occasion. So they kept it for a few months, a few years in the cellar. And when they had a big festivity, they used the big bottles. So in fact, these bottles were all owned by the customer. The customer had his own bottle, and he brought the bottle when it was empty.
You fill it?
You refill it, and he kept it in his cellar for special occasions.
Amazing!
Yeah.
The old growlers.
Yes, in fact, the old growers at different sizes. Yes. Yeah.
Amazing that,
yes.
Mark.
Yes.
That's a story I didn't know.
They did it. They did it until 2007. So the old owners did it also, because when we took over the brewery, we found some bottles left, already filled and already with the name of the customer on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
Can I take a picture?
Old bottles and old wood boxes.
Yes. 1975.
Ó, uma caixa de 1957. Essa caixa, good wood, né? Really good wood.
That's my birthday.
Oh,
My birth year. Birth year. 62.
Caixas antigas. Amazing.
75. Yeah. This must be the oldest.
Peraí, tirou.
Oh, 45.
45?
1964.
64.
5. This is a 5.
Yes. 54. Uma
Six-
caixa de 1954, ó, ainda inteira, ainda em ótimas condições.
We don't use them anymore. Eh?
Ah, yeah. I hope it. Ó, uma garrafinha. Gersten Liefmans. Liefmans always did brown ales. Ó, a Aguilera se passando aí na foto. Boa. Então, saindo aqui da sala de raridades e antiguidades da Liefmans, vamos subir mais uma escadinha e vamos ver o que tem lá em cima.
Express the amount or the size of the brewery by the amount of annual consumption of barley.
Ah, as
That was
placas
how
lindas.
they related one brewery to another. And then you see here, this is from 1932, 1933 comparison. You see Liefmans was then at that moment the biggest Pilsner brewery. Liefmans, Van den Heuvel, Artois, Stella Artois, InBev, Haard, and so on. And we are somewhere here, Liefmans. You see Liefmans, 950,000 kilograms. And you see a little bit lower Moordgat, 806. So at that time the brewery Liefmans was bigger than.
It's bigger than Duvel. Yeah, yeah.
Now it's turned out completely.
You have the Koning here too?
Yes.
Koning.
Yeah. There are still some breweries who are still.
Van Roy.
Van Roy. I don't know Van Roy. Van Roy is
Leopold. Leopold is in Mechelen.
it doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't anymore. Yeah, yeah. Lamotte is in Mechelen.
Lamotte
Sorry.
is in Mechelen.
Lamotte is in Mechelen. Collier.
Collier, yeah, it's also disappeared. Liefmans
Amazing.
also disappeared. The only one is Artois. Haard exists still, but most of the breweries are gone.
Tira uma foto disso aqui, Jô, depois. Bem focada. Isso é impressionante. Isso é muito bom para saber cervejas que existiam e não existiam.
It's also an important thing. We had to pay taxes on wort at that time. So the density of the wort was important and the amount of the wort was important. Then they could calculate, they are going to make that amount of beer with that alcohol. Right? So we had to pay taxes on the wort. That means that they have to calibrate the boiling vessel.
The boiling vessel.
The boiling vessel. And to make a calibration, they used a caliber. And a caliber was a fixed vat of 50 liters.
Okay, so if every 50 liters...
Every 50 liters they have to fill it up with water, put it into the tank, and measure a level. And then they calculate it. So this table gives you, you see, centimeter and hectoliter. You see, this is from boiling vessel number 2, the other one. And so each half a hecto, 50 liters, they measured the level. So
the level, 80 centimeters.
50, each 0.5 hectoliter. They have to, and so they had to calibrate the whole vessel once, and then this is an official paper, in fact, from the Texas. The Texas made this.
They control this.
Yes, they made once for your vessel, for your boiling vessel. They made this thing, this paper, this table, and it was calculated once when it was new, I suppose. So because this is from 19. There's a date here in somewhere in the 30s.
30s?
In the 30s, yes. So
yes, it's the 30s. You're right.
27th of I think January,
January or October maybe.
That's possible.
Or November.
And then 30 must be 30, I suppose, because the brewery, this building was started construction in 1927. They started constructing building,
1927,
and then starting up the
brewery.
First
batch, you know.
The first batch, must be 1930.
1930.
I think something here, 1930.
So this is a very, very old.
This is from the beginning. This is the original calibration table for boiling vessel number 2. So it's written here.
Caralho.
Boiling vessels, verzamelvat number 2, and that's that one. In fact, it should be there, but there is a wall of fame of Roos. You see, the first tank is a water kettle. You have a boiling kettle. You have a mash kettle. You have a boiling vessel, and you have again a water.
A water.
Yeah. So we have two.
So water, boiler, water.
Yes. That's family portrait of the people who worked here at that time with the wife and Rosa when she was the boss.
When he was the boss.
And she was the boss. Also Rosa measuring density. This is also Rosa with Olaf. We saw there.
Olaf, yeah,
his
son.
In his younger years, yes. So that was putting in cherries. So when they put in cherries. So the story of the cherries is also a little bit rare. And people made jelly out of it. They made liquor out of it. And some farmers also put beer on the cherries. So it was a local farmer activity. At a certain moment, the brewer of Liefmans said, shouldn't it be better that you bring your cherries to the brewery and I will make the cherry beer for you? So in the bigger quantities it will be better and in a stainless steel tank or another tank. And so they could preserve it better and they could show it better and it was better.
Better product.
So that's the way they started to make cherry beer. Cherry beer, yes. Originally, cherry beer was created by the farmers when they had too much cherries. You know that guy?
Oh. Who don't know?
A lot of people don't know that.
Amazing photographs, amazing. Hall of Fame.
Eddie Merckx. I don't know them all, but this is a former prime minister, not prime minister, minister somewhere, external, Buitenlandse zaken. This is with Bocuse, the French chef. This is with the king, the formal king.
The formal king?
Albert, yes.
Whoa.
Yes. That's the boss, the formal boss of the koning.
Mm-hmm.
This is also prime minister, ex-prime minister. These guys, I don't know. This is Jean Martens from the Martens Brewery.
For the Martins?
Martens. Not Martins.
Ah, okay.
Martens
Okay.
Brewery. This is with the Queen. So she met several times. She met
Madame House,
yes,
very,
yes. But
very
she
important
was also,
people.
She was also keen to meet them. She wanted to be in the picture.
Ah,
She always went to the guys because other guys would say, okay, that's a king. And no, she. Yeah, you saw her. How she
yes. Liefmans, amazing brewery, amazing beers, amazing history.
Beautiful woman also.
Yes.
She's more than 50 over there already.
Yes.
She's 50
Preserved.
somewhere. Yeah. Very beautiful. This is one of the nicest pictures I know from her.
Amazing.
All the brewers loved her. She had all the brewers in her hands. And this was also very interesting for the brewery because they did a lot for free for her. They said, okay, we are going to distribute, I will take your beer with us, and then because she didn't have any money.
Some old stuffs from Liefmans. Very, very beautiful.
These are expensive
Oh yeah.
because they are in glass.
Ah.
In the past, they didn't had this. They didn't had metal.
Metal.
But everything was in glass.
Mm-hmm.
And when they changed it from this to that, they had to take it off from the wall, and it broke. Most of the times it broke.
Because
so these are very seldom. And
very
that's
rare too.
very rare, and that's the reason why they are worth a lot of money.
Ah.
These are also worthful, but these ones are very expensive. Because they all disappeared and they took it off the wall.
Yes.
They broke, they threw it away.
It's old.
Yep.
Mm.
And
Another one.
yeah, if you have,
Liefmans.
we don't have that much upstairs. There is another one in wood and glass. In the beginning.
In the beginning, yes, I see it. Liefmans. Liefmans was the surname of the founder?
No. The founder had another name, but after a certain period, it was taken over by a family, Liefmans.
Ah.
And they sold it because it was a widow. At the end, it was a widow. And then she sold the brewery to other people, Van Geluwe de Berlare. But she took it into the contract. She included it that the name has to be kept as long as the brewery was functioning and as long as Liefmans had to stay to the brewery. To the beer.
Mr. Mark, the first name of the brewery was?
I don't know. I don't know.
But the Liefmans is the second name. Maybe
second or third name. Yeah, it was. You have to. It's
on the research.
1500 then.
Yeah.
So it was a small local brewery who grew to one of the biggest breweries of Oudenaarde. When I was a student here in Oudenaarde, then Liefmans was the most important brewery of Oudenaarde. There were still five breweries left, but Liefmans was the biggest. So, but originally, so when it was founded, it was only a very small brewery. It was then beer activities.
They came
Beer
to grow up.
baking beer was like kitchen activity, a little bit bigger than a kitchen. And they made beer, and it was consumed very quickly. Within 14 days, all the beer was consumed, and they
They knew it. Yeah.
There are pictures, paintings from Bruegel.
Ah, from Bruegel, the old one.
Bruegel, the old one. Yeah, Bruegel.
Bruegel.
He made a lot of pictures of local people celebrating festivities and so on. And sometimes you can find in some pictures a bar or a cafe, a herberg,
Or event.
yeah. And they always had a sort of signal when they had fresh beer. And it was hang outside. So they hang it outside, and it was like around with plants. How you call it? A krans in Flemish. It's krans means that.
In French. Only Flemish here, my friend.
French, but that's a difficult word to translate. So, for instance, when somebody dies, then they also give...
coroa. Crown.
Crown.
The flower crown.
Yeah. So they hang a crown outside when they had new beer. So people knew when they were passing.
Nice.
The beer is fresh. But fresh in the sense that they were talking about fresh beer younger than 15 days old. So at that
15
moment...
or 50?
15.
Okay.
So at that moment they drank beer. When it was completely fresh, it was good. And then at the end, after 15 days, after 2 weeks, it was already starting getting sour or more sour or a little bit. And then the beer was old.
Mm-hmm.
Each time when the brewer came and he delivered fresh beer, they hang out the Corona.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they knew that is new.
The new beer there.
The new beer is arrived. So let's go to the pub.
Here's the maturation things.
No.
Fermentation.
Boiling.
Boiling things. Boiling things. Aqui os tanques de fervura ainda. Claro. Of course, we are up the boil.
Yes, this is the highest level of the brewery. So
Essa é a parte mais alta da cervejaria. Uau!
boiling vessel. So this is wort
Enorme.
boiling. The fourth one is also wort boiling. This is water, and then the last one, the fifth one, is wort. And then the small one inside, in the middle. That was a small tank to make also hot water, but also to higher up the temperature during mashing.
The mashing.
So I told you then during mashing they had to heat up externally by adding water or by taking off wort, heat it up and bring it back downstairs.
Okay.
And that the one in the middle was used for that purpose.
Mr. Mark is a very, very big boil tank.
Yes, it's a 260 hectoliters.
2.600 hectolitros. São 260 mil hectolitros. 200 mil litros. É muito grande.
Eles faziam decocção. Eles subiam uma parte, ferviam e voltavam para o mosto, para aumentar a fervura.
Parece que sim. Pelo que entendi, ele sim, ele fazia tanto decocção como adição de água quente também. Sim, acho que sim, pode ser. Pode ser.
Será que ele sabe qual é esse processo?
So, Mr. Mark, we have a double here. So, when you do the mash and you pump some wort and barley,
some grains,
but
not too much. Not
okay,
too much, yeah.
So you pump to here, you heat it up, and you pulling back. Decoction.
Type of decoction.
Yes. Type of, because here you boil here. You boil.
We heat it up to 100 degrees, not really boiling for
not
an
kind
hour,
of decoction.
but to bring it up to 100 degrees. 200 degrees, higher up in temperature, and that's the reason why the small intermediate tanks were there. So when you go, for instance,
of course,
an example, when you want to go from 72 to 78, then you have your starting volume. Then you have to, can you calculate how much do I need wort to bring it to 100
To bring it
degrees
back.
and bring it back. So you could exactly measure the temperature you wanted to reach. And that's the reason why these two small tanks in the middle, in between, are there. To measure exactly how much you have to add to higher up your temperature, yes.
Amazing, né? In that time. Amazing.
Yeah.
Sim, eles fazem uma decocção.
About boiling, this was also one of the, not the first brewery, but in fact it's a very classical brew house, big size. It's a square boiling vessel. And also the boiling was with steam.
With steam?
Steam. Yes, the heating was with steam. You see, this is the steam pipeline. The tube you see, it's a steam pipeline. But when you have to imagine it, you don't have to be engineered to understand that this steam line is much too small to boil this whole amount of water. But it was the intention that the boiling should take the whole night. It was a whole night boiling.
All night boiling.
How many hours?
All night?
8 hours.
It
It was
was
ready 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, and then during the night they boiled until the next day, until 6 o'clock in the morning, and then they went to the cool ship to cool down.
Okay,
But it was boiling during the whole night.
But a really mild boiling.
Mild boiling, yes, because this
Just a bloop,
like soup.
like soup, yeah. Entendeu? É uma fervura muito branda, mas fervia por 8 horas.
Sim.
Por isso que quem vai fazer uma coisa dessa em casa não consegue. Porque tem essas características que o cara é obrigado a seguir, cara. Você quer fazer uma coisa clássica.
Has also advantages on the taste. Because when
Of
you
course.
boil very slowly, you don't have the big caramelization, but you have a soft caramelization. And during boiling, you have always a coloring. The coloring is going to higher.
You lose a lot of water too.
You lose a lot of water, but also the coloring, the color goes up, and then but you have a mild formation of Maillard reactions. Maillard reactions are very mild and that's. They say it was constructed
For
that purpose. Yes.
So, thinking about it, if you soft boiling for 8 or 10 hours, you lose a lot of water and your sugar concentration.
Yes, thickens very much. Yes, and also the mild caramelization you get is also important for the taste.
Yes, of course.
And then in the middle you see the thing with the holes. That's the sieve for the hops, to take out the hops. Normally in a Pilsner brewery, they use much more hops than our beers, because originally our beer was without hops.
Middle Age, yeah.
So we never needed the big amount of hops. Rosa told us, hey, should it up.
Depois de ver aqui as panelas de fervura, que são quadradas, né? Agora nós vamos então para a segunda parte aqui. Ah, não, temos aqui os moinhos. Ah, que legal, os moinhos aqui. São 2 moinhos enormes.
Ele fica sempre ligado aqui, porque quando você desliga, ele desliga. Você tem que ligar aqui de novo.
Malt storage.
Malt storage.
Malt storage was at the other side of the brewery. So the silos were over there. Brew house was here. So the transportation of the malt from the malt silos to here happened with a vacuum tank.
With vacuum tank in that time.
At that time, yes. So they were very traditional in sizes and square, but then modern in transportation.
In logistics.
So this is the vacuum tank, the original vacuum tank, the red one over there, the original vacuum tank to soak the malt from the other side to there, and the pipeline was outside of the brew house. It was above the brew house. It came in here, and that's the red one here. That's the pipeline, which you can see goes outside. And then
Up the building.
Yeah. And then they no wait, I have to look. I'm not this is not exact what I'm telling. This is the air. This is must be the malt. I don't know. I never saw it working. Anyway, transportation of the malt from here to there was
in vacuum
pipeline, and came into this rattle system to divide the malt in these 2 silos. And these are only weighing bunkers. They are on a vacuum.
São 2 enormes moinhos, hein? Mas são enormes esses moinhos. Aí aqui eles tinham para pesar, né? Peso certo de malte ou de alguma coisa, né? Poxa, uma balança.
So when it's empty, it's
Olha lá.
like this. When it's empty, it's like this. And when it gets filled, then this goes up. And normally this should give a contact to a bell
And close.
over there. And then they say, finished.
Finished.
Enough malt. So that's in fact weighing.
It's a very was a modernity in that time, that kind of thing.
Yeah, this is something they put on afterwards. Eh? This is something they fix themselves.
They fix themselves.
They fix themselves with a contact here, and so then.
Essa é a
So-
famosa gambiarra.
Afterwards, they put it afterwards. Eh?
The malt mill.
That's downstairs.
8,000 kilos
Yep, 8,000 kilos for each brew.
for each brew.
Yeah.
That's a lot of malt, my friend.
So they always made a brew in the two brew houses together, the same time.
The same time.
And all the malt together was 8,000 kilograms.
Fantástica visita na Liefmans. Meu, que visita fantástica. This is a insane, you know? Is a ordenar.
It's a,
A gambiarra, isso é uma gambiarra.
yeah, but that's what I was telling. At the time that Rosa was in charge, she didn't have enough money. She didn't receive money to do renewings. And that's also the reason why everything stayed as it was originally constructed. So this is the original installation from 1930, 1928, 30, and she never got finance possibilities to
Make
something new, something more modern, and so she had to continue working always the same way. Of course, she had the luck that the sizes of the brews were big, so she didn't have to make more beer or more frequently the renewing the beer or expand the fermentation. She always had enough beer inside, and also the beer lagered for a longer period.
Yeah,
It was always beer with a big capacity of lagering and so on. So she could construct a buffer for the ratios and the selling and so on.
Vamos lá. Agora a gente vai entrar no coração da fábrica, os tanques de resfriamento. Olha que espetáculo, cara. Os tanques de... Você não faz ideia do tamanho que é isso aqui, cara. É que no celular parece ser meio pequeno, mas é enorme. Olha isso, cara. Amazing, Mr. Mark. This is amazing.
Yes, it is. So these are the cool ships. So after boiling, you have to cool down. And then we cool down in 2 steps. And there is a difference. So you find all these cool ships, you also find them in Geus brewers. Geus or
Lambic brewers.
They have it also.
Rodenbach has a really old one, Rodenbach.
Yes. But here you could not cool down until fermentation temperature. It was much too risky to get too much wild yeast inside. And they knew it already. That's the reason why they constructed a cooling system in 2 steps. The first one was here on these ships, and it goes from 100 degrees to 60 degrees, not lower, because otherwise the wort has to stay too long on the ship. And then they cool down from 60 degrees to 24 degrees with a bottle cooler. A bottle cooler downstairs. So they cool down in 2 steps.
Enorme.
That's very important also for the type of beer, to make the type of beer. Otherwise, when you should leave the wort for a much longer period here on the cool ship, you will get too much Geus taste, too much lambic taste, too much influence of the wild yeast. And that's the reason why they did it in 2 steps. To 60 degrees centigrade, you don't have to bother about infection with wild yeast. But when you go lower, it starts to get risky. And that's the reason why they did it in 2 steps.
You can figure out the smell here.
Yeah.
Oh,
The ceiling is also in wood to avoid condensation, not to avoid the cold drops inside the wood. That's the reason why it was in wood. So it soaks up all the moist and also all the water. This is copper.
copper.
Yes.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Also the boiling vessels are like copper.
And there is
You saw the square of boiling vessels, they are also in copper.
also in copper. And there is the tools to clean up.
Yeah.
Ali estão os instrumentos para limpeza
Old instruments.
os instrumentos antigos para limpeza do cool ship. São dois cool ships enormes.
Sorry, you see also the sieves in the middle where there is the hole, there's the hole where
Yeah,
goes down. But the sieve helps to separate a little bit the hot drop from the wort. So when you don't sieve it out, you get too much dirt on your yeast.
Yes.
And to take it out to have this protein sediment, to avoid it, to get it to.
And that's separate.
It's separated a little bit. It's a sieve. It's a sieve with hole. So
O teto é todo de madeira para evitar condensação e fazer com que não pingasse, né? Umidade direto nas piscinas de fermentação, de resfriamento. But
to have enough capacity to cool down. That's they open this, and when you open them, it's really makes you get cold. You got a cold. When
Faster.
You 5 minutes here, you're cold.
You don't get the wild yeasts from the...
yes, but
you have.
but the temperature is higher.
60 degrees, it doesn't bother.
Entendeu?
They die because it's too hot. But when you go lower and you should keep the wort for a longer period here, it goes down to 24 degrees. The lower it has to go, the longer it has to stay also on. When you cool only with.
Então, depois de passar pelos tanques enormes de resfriamento, agora a gente vai no bungalow, que é a parte aqui de baixo. Ó. Bungalow.
I have to close this door because otherwise we have problems with the pigeons.
Ok.
Okay.
Pombos. Então, depois de vermos a parte da resfriação, da primeira resfriação, eles têm duas etapas de resfriação, né? Resfriamento. Eles resfriam primeiro naqueles tanques abertos lá em cima até 60 graus, depois eles transferem aqui para o resfriador a queda, né? Na realidade, o que acontece? Passa água gelada dentro desses canos aqui e a cerveja cai aqui em cima e vem escorrendo por isso daqui, né? Resfriando o mosto, cerveja não, mosto, né? Resfriando o mosto a temperatura de fermentação. Essa daqui é o maior resfriador de queda que eu já vi. Eu já vi vários deles na Alemanha e aqui na Bélgica, mas esse aqui é o maior. Eu não tinha visto um tão grande assim. Eu acho que o maior que eu tinha visto até agora era metade desse, mais ou menos. This is the big one I haven't ever seen.
The big one?
Yes,
yeah,
this is the big one.
The sizes of the brews are big, eh? And of course, I don't know whether you, I didn't understand. The wort comes in and goes at the outside. Eh?
Okay. And inside, the
Inside
pipes
you have
are water.
Water, yes.
Yeah. This is the big one. The second big one I see in the Spaten in Germany.
Yes, Germany. We have two of them.
But you have two. Oh, eles têm dois.
Tem outro lá.
Pô, eles têm dois resfriadores. Amazing. Eu já pensava que era grande, agora, olha, meu amigo. Cara, nunca vi dois desse tamanho, sinceramente. Desse tamanho eu nunca vi. After cooling, the wort comes here?
No, this is only for the last level.
The last level with sediments.
With sediment. To take it off as much as possible, then it went over this cloth. And this soaks up a little bit the protein sediment, and then it goes into the gutter, goes to the fermentation.
Amazing.
From here goes, but in the beginning it's directly to the fermentation.
Ok.
But then at the end, the last 5 or 2 centimeters, I don't know how much, I never saw it working. But then this went over this.
With some proteins or some hops or
Yes,
some...
and then the leftovers, and they have to take it out as much as possible, otherwise you have too much
Dirty.
impurities in your beer. Yeah. Dirty to... Yeah.
Dirty from the brewing process.
Yes.
Fantástico. Aqui mais algumas antiguidades da Liefmans, algumas caixas bem antigas que eles usavam antigamente. Aqui nós temos o mesmo separador, vamos dizer assim, que ele tem lá, mas sem a cobertura, né? Por que tem aquele separador ali? Os primeiros, lá da piscina de resfriamento, o primeiro mosto que vinha e resfriava então ali no resfriador de queda, ia direto para o tanque de fermentação. O final da piscina, uns 2 centímetros faltando para esvaziar a piscina, ele passava por aquele tubo e caía então em cima, né, dentro dessa mesa aqui, dessa mesa. Ela tem então um pano e ali esse pano filtrava as impurezas que podiam ter no fundo da piscina, né? Aqui nós temos algumas garrafas antigas de Liefmans, alguns instrumentos que eles usavam. Muito legal essa visita. A visita é fantástica. Ok? Eu já vi uma dessas funcionando, é fantástico.
The mills. Yes. When I go back to the brew house, here we have the mills.
A parte de baixo dos moinhos, o motor no caso.
The bullet holes. You see? At the end of World War II, there was a last raid. I heard a last raid from the Germans to destroy as much as possible. It was at the end of the world, and they felt that they were going to lose the world war, and then they destroyed as much as possible. So they came over with the airplane. All they saw, they attacked everything. And these are one
São
of the
os
leftovers.
motores dos moinhos. Então aqui nós temos uma história bem interessante. O senhor Mark falou. O senhor Mark falou que são 1, 2, 3. Ele está mostrando mais aqui, talvez. Bom, isso são.
Aí.
Aqui, ó. Aqui, ó. Isso são marcas de bala. First War ou Second War?
Second World War.
São marcas de bala de aviões alemães da Segunda Guerra Mundial. Eu perguntei para ele como é que foram as 2 guerras aqui, né? Ele falou um pouco da primeira, como é que foi para a cervejaria, e da Segunda Guerra. Tem mais uma bem grande ali, ó. Ele falou que na Segunda Guerra não sofreram tanto, mas tiveram alguns probleminhas, digamos assim, né? Essas são metralhadoras .85, que diretas de avião, né? Então os aviões sobrevoavam aqui a cervejaria e atiravam, e aqui nós temos os buracos das balas que chegaram até a cervejaria, né? Realmente, na Europa as pessoas tiveram que conviver com 2 guerras, né? E aí então estão ainda algumas cicatrizes delas, né? Fantástico. O rolo, olha o tamanho do rolo. Olha o rolo. Still works? Ele vai ligar o moinho agora. Não acredito que isso aqui funciona ainda. É o outro? É o outro lá, ó. Vamos dar uma olhadinha no outro. Ligou o moinho velho funciona ainda, rapaz. Fantástico. Os 2 estão funcionando. Lá atrás também, ó. Fantastic.
According to 1991.
Yes, seems new. Great. Então, depois de passar pelo tanque de resfriamento, o primeiro passagem, né, de aberto, depois a segunda passagem por queda, visitar os moinhos, agora a gente vai ver os tanques antigos de fermentação. E são impressionantes. Tanques abertos ainda tem cheiro de fermentação aqui. Tanques abertos. Enormes.
Yes, in Brazil is Bruxellensis.
Yeah, but that's yeast. That's a wild yeast.
That's
a wild yeast. That's a wild yeast. Lactobacillus bruxellensis. Oh yes, okay. But that's ours is another one. Ours is Lactobacillus brevis.
Ah, brevis.
Brevis.
Uou, tá fermentando?
I use the ones brevis.
So normally we ferment each week 2 batches. There's more than one brew, but
Maravilhosa
it's
essa fermentação.
two vessels. But now temporarily we only do 1. This is old brown. This is a brew of old brown.
And what's the characteristic of the yeast of you?
It's a Belgian yeast.
Any characteristics?
It's an ale. It's an ale yeast. Now for the moment we are using the yeast of the Koning.
The color.
The Koning. Yes.
Really good.
Yes. The yeast of the Koning because it's a good yeast. It behaves well because we tried other yeasts, and for us it's important that the yeast comes up enough, that we can harvest enough yeast when it stays in suspension.
Yes, this
it's
is
not
the
interesting
time to
for us.
harvest yeast.
It's already passed. It's already
yes.
passed. So we already harvested. You see it because it goes down.
Yeah.
The level
But
has
this
been
is
higher.
pure yeast.
This is pure yeast.
The top.
In the top is pure yeast. We take off and we put it away, and then next week when the next brew comes, we do the other vessel.
Que visita, que fantástica essa visita aqui na
And that's
Liefmans.
this is a little bit when you in summer when you
Amazing.
keep the yeast that you have harvested and you keep it in warm temperature, then it's not good. And you risk to get acetic acid infection. And then when you have a strike of acetic acid, it's finished.
Que show aqui, uma fermentação aqui na Liefmans. E se eu der um zoom aqui, talvez vocês consigam ver algumas bolinhas estourando. Tem que esperar com paciência, mas elas aparecem.
Temos ali no meio que pode florar daqui a pouquinho.
O cheiro aqui dentro é fantástico.
Eu senti esse cheiro.
Cheiro de fermentação, né?
É, pois é. Mas eu não esperava achar uma cerveja se eu não fosse.
Pois é.
Sinceramente. Aquele ali também funciona?
Funciona, ele usa somente esse e esse. Esse aqui de trás ele já não usa mais. Não vai mais usar.
Aí, Bob, pega a garrafeta rapidinho.
Ah, a parte do invase. Olha o cheiro. Invase e... Ah, tem coisinha na madeira fermentando também, maturando também, meu amigo. Bourbon Whiskey, Woodford Reserve Distillery, Estados Liefmans. A Liefmans está fazendo algumas coisas no barril de madeira também.
So I will
Is the package?
first talk about the beer, because this is something different. This is something else.
Ah, ok.
This is kombucha.
It's kombucha? Uou!
This is kombucha. Will be kombucha.
I love kombucha.
Yeah. This is beer. This part and over there is beer.
Ah, eu não sabia, Liefmans também faz kombucha. Então ele falou que toda essa parte aqui é para a parte da kombucha deles. E toda essa parte aqui então é cerveja.
This is complete new installation. We still have to start it up.
Ah, ok.
It was constructed
It's very new.
last week. Last week it was constructed. Yeah?
Very new.
It's very new. It's brand new.
Kombucha now in Brazil is pumping
Really?
up. Ooh. Made at home by home brews,
Yeah.
but with factories still.
Okay. The wooden cask you see here is for duvel.
Ah, Duvel
Barrel
aged.
Happens here in our place. So
Really?
they make a brew, they bring it over here, we fill the casks, we keep them for 6, 8 months, 9 months, and then we empty the kegs and the beer goes away to Duvel to get bottled. And
I have a bottle.
but we
at
have
home.
the place to stay, to keep it here, and we do the work in fact.
Toda aquela. Não sei se já tem. Eu tenho uma garrafa dela em casa. Duvel Barrel Aged. É toda feita aqui, eu não sabia.
Uma dessas foi que eu comprei lá.
Eu comprei também.
So we had 4 batches, sequence batches with the bourbon barrels, and the next batch will be with rum barrels.
Rum?
Rum. Yes, with rum barrels. So now the rum barrels are coming in. But we
From
still,
where,
we
you
still
know?
have to fill different. I
Different,
suppose,
uh,
different. Yes.
I love rum.
So over there you have the cylindrical tanks you saw outdoor, and then of course we have some smaller tanks.
Yes.
Sorry for the thing.
No, no
because
problem.
We have a storage room which has to be painted. You have to get it out, everything out.
Ah, ok.
This here, this was
Tem alguns tanquezinhos horizontais.
A bullet.
A ba- Então agora o Mr. Mark está tirando um pouquinho da Cric Brut para nós, direto do tanque.
Gente, alguém pega aqui para eu continuar fotografando.
Direto do tanque. O Mark está fazendo para nós. Quer vir daqui, Jô? Fazer a foto daqui, ele está falando?
Deixa eu ajoelhar aqui para pegar ele direitinho. Pode começar.
A Cric Brut direto do tanque Liefmans. Espetáculo. Pô, que foto linda, Jô. Pega com o Mr. Mark inteiro, assim, tu consegue pegar um pouco do rosto dele. Então aqui, agora nós entramos no lugar que eu gosto. A antiga cave da Liefmans com cervejas de décadas estocadas aqui. Olha isso aqui, olha isso aqui. Olha aqui. Vocês estão de sacanagem comigo.
Eu quero é fazer assim.
Uau!
And you sell it.
Olha as raridades, antiguidades que nós temos aqui na cave da Liefmans. Aqui, olha essa Gudenband. Ah, não tem mais. It's empty.
empty.
É. A rolha,
These are not empty.
a rolha apodreceu.
These are not empty.
A rolha no, it's because the corks goes out, you know.
Yes. That's the problem.
Mhm.
In the past also. With a lot of these bottles here. Because this whole wall is from all beer from 1987.
No, it's not true.
Yes, it is. But when you open, to find a good one, to find a good bottle, you at least need to open 10 or 20 to find a good one, because they all
Already going.
are gone, and the carbon dioxide is gone, and they got oxidized, and that's the negative thing of a cork. Cork
Mhm.
is always very sensitive, and this is all still
Meu
natural cork.
Deus do céu.
So these are all for show.
Espetáculo.
But
Então agora nós vamos degustar uma Gudenband nova desse ano passado no caso, né? E vamos comparar com uma Gudenband que está lá de 2015, 5 anos de idade. O senhor Mark está fazendo esse teste conosco aqui, vamos ver. E agora o Mr. Mark está servindo a de 2015. Já se percebe uma tonalidade de cerveja. Obviamente a oxidação, todo mundo sabe que pode aumentar a cor deixar ela mais escura, né? Então tá aqui a da esquerda de 2015
É 2015.
e a da direita de perdão, a da esquerda de 2015 sim, e a da direita de 2018. Então agora vamos para análise sensorial dela, vamos ver como é que ela tá.
made for the United States for Omegang.
For Omegang,
So don't mix them up. That's a cherry beer.
cherry beer.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
That's a cherry beer made for Omegang.
Omegang.
It's an imitation of a beer they made it over there
Hã?
with the basic beer of our cherry beer, main cherry beer. We send it over in kegs
Yes.
to there, and then they put it on wooden barrels and so on. They let it age, and they mixed it with other beers and so on. At a certain moment, they said, we would like to do it again, but we don't have the beer anymore. Can you eventually help us out to make it and send over some samples, because I didn't know the beer because it was only in the United States. So they sent over some samples, and then we start to look for beers, because we have a lot of small quantities in barrels, aged and so on. And we started to mix and to blend and to look for the right taste
and we came out of this, and they were extremely happy with, with the result.
Cheers, Mr. Mark.
Cheers.
Madame Rosé.
And this is made only for the US.
This is sour, eh? This is when now we are turning into sour beer. Eh?
Too sour, Miss Madame? Eey.
And it's not volmondig. If you understand German,
Yeah?
volmondig. You have a full taste. This you have not a full
It's very
taste.
dry.
It's empty taste.
It's dry.
It's only dry, only dryness.
Dry.
The
Yeah.
good qualities I have a good smell and a good taste. And that you need for
There's no label, nothing.
That's
Just
right.
taste.
That's
There
right.
is a label. It's called Super
I
Creek.
do that.
Super Creek.
I smell already
can show you the
three
bottle.
aromas. And that's
like,
not good. It should be one.
I love beer.
To blend the beer.
Bottles.
I had a specialty in my time was alone in brewery to blend beers. To always have the same
taste and same
from
aroma.
4 different tanks of beer. Because our beer was made on an artificial way. Like you make a soup or something. And every tank was a little bit different from another tank. So I had to mix sometimes 20 hectares from this bit, 30 hectares from that, plus 10 hectares from that to come on a...
To make a standard beer.
Yes. And I still regret my garden band. In my time, I found it better than it's now.
Whoa.
Yeah, look, it's,
You have a- you
it's
have-
not made by me, and Duvermoort had so many engineers, and I wasn't. I did my studies for beer. I just made it like your mother makes a good soup.
Good soup, yeah.
That was my special.
So in that time, in your time, the Gudenband was best in that.
Well, I don't say it now.
You know why? Because
it
it was
still was.
smooth. Because it was tasted by you, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have a bottle from that time to make the difference?
Marcus, zeg maar, hij nog vrij alweer van een tijd.
Gallery, Cavoes.
Yeah, he will show you.
We know we will do the test.